Yo, call me a game designer the way I'm not one, and I just love spreading misinformation. What it do, everybody? I'm an artist with a neat idea and absolutely zero editing experience. However, I'm also a good boy that follows the rules. So, here's what I made. Like all great things, it starts with the idea. I'm gonna be real with you, Chief. I don't know when, where, why, or how I got this idea. All I know is that at some point, my neurons clicked together at just the right angle and the hand of God descended to bestow unto me my next hyperfixation. Sonic trading card game. So naturally, I embark on my quest to peruse the archives. Now, after dodging through all the AI slop, I learned two things. One, there isn't one. Two, there was one. Yeah, so apparently there was one made for Sonic X. I don't know anything about it, but I can only assume that it has rules because, you know, you can see all the numbers and text and shit, right? But that doesn't matter. What I find most funny is that all the card art seems to be just literally just screenshots from the show, and I kind of love that. So after realizing it was free real estate, I did my usual, which is to think about it for multiple days until I finally go onto Pinterest, gather references for 3 hours, and then draw a single rough sketch, and then deciding that was it. I was satisfied. I was going to leave it at that and never think about it again. Until, I kid you not, 2 days later. So it was through this call to action that I realized what needed to be done. I needed to see this through, to close the distance, to lock the fuck in. So I did. So, if we want to make a trading card game, then we need a vision. Cause sure, we could just take Sonic characters and slap them onto Magic or Pokemon cards, or we could just make shit up to make it look like a trading card, right? But that's not satisfying enough. I needed to make this way more complicated than it had to be. The solution is some kind of central mechanic or gameplay style that seems fun, makes sense with the idea of deck building, and, most importantly, feels like an actual representation of the series, you know what I'm saying? So to give you an idea, Magic has you cast spells and shit because you're a wizard, Pokemon has you basically playing the video game but in card form, in Hearthstone you hearth the stones, and in Yu-Gi-Oh! You Yugi the O's. But what about Sonic? So it was here that I found myself at a bit of a standstill, you know, I couldn't think of anything. Not a single thing that was both satisfied and felt like Sonic. I was at a loss. Oh shit. Teams! Think about it. The SA2 campaign, Sonic Heroes, Sonic Riders, Sonic Boom, fucking Team Sonic Racing. Since the dawn of man, we've cared about nothing except for taking these silly little scrunklies and finagling them into silly little groups to see what they do. The answer had been in front of me this entire time. Commander! Alright brother, it's now finally time to show you the card. Right there, that's it, that's the card. Now, let me take you on a tour through all the bits and bobs. You better believe we got the name, the alias, the rarity, the ring count, the action point cost, the damage, and any associated keywords. We got the main ability and a surprise tool that'll help us later. Got it? Good. Moving on. So in this game, which you can call Sonic TCG, I've been calling it Team Sonic Battle for a bit, or you can go with the superior name choice, Sonic Shuffle. You assemble a team of 3 characters and then build a 60 card deck around them, alright? Now, I know I'm preaching to a choir of like-minded Sonic Rautists, so I don't need to explain to you why Sonic's card is blue, Knuckles red, Tails yellow. These represent the 3 roles of the game, alright? It's here where I should tell you that I didn't actually go with speed, power, and fly. I decided to broaden the horizons a bit to open up design freedom down the line. So what we have instead is Striker, Defender, and Supporter. I'm gonna tell you this now, brother. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, I'm gonna give it to you straight, not gonna lie, I'm gonna keep it a $1.50. You will not get used to Striker being blue and Defender being red. I thought I would, but it has now been like a month and it has not gotten better. So the reason I made the rules so much more generalized is so that we can justify shit like this. But I'm on a time crunch, so I'll elaborate some other time in some other video if I ever decide to do this again. Anyway, now that you've seen what the cards look like, it's time to actually get to the game. So let me break it down for you, brother. So here we have the board, alright? Think of it like Pokemon. We got the deck, the discard, the active, and the bench. But we're talking about the real Pokemon card game here. So the bench is 5 cards, and also our team is somewhere on the table. Right there. Okay. Now, keep in mind that there will always be a character in the active slot. This is our leader. When your turn starts, you get 5 action points. It will always be 5 action points unless you play cards to change that, and it will reset at the start of your next turn. Alright brother, here's where we make this shit feel like Sonic Heroes. During your turn, you have the option to tag in different members of the team. You can do it as much as you want, and the first time is free, but after that you gotta pay the action point cost. That's what the diamonds are for. You can also use this time to play any cards in your hand. Some will cost action points, some won't, and I'm thinking a lot of the cards will be stuff like items, allies, stages. Oh, and for the 5 Magic players in chat, we will absolutely have instants, but they're all wisps, because I think that'd be based and color pilled. After all this, you have 2 options. You can pass the turn, or you can attack and have your leader fight the other guy's leader. So for damage in this game, we're going to be using D&D dice, alright? Because I like D&D dice and I thought it'd be funny. So for the uninitiated, here's how you calculate damage. Alright, so I know this looks like a fucking math equation, but let me give it to you straight, brother. What matters are these two numbers. The number of the dice and the size of the dice. So 2d4 means rolling two four-sided dice and then, add a 0 at the end because times 10. So when you attack, both leaders are going to do their damage to each other at the same time. This is the default, but let's say for example, you're a cheeky bastard like Sonic with double strike, meaning he hits first and then decides to follow the rules. Now, it's important to note that the rings work like they do in the games, so you gotta get them to 0 and then hit them to take them out. There's only a few types of cards you can play during this combat phase of the turn, alright? You got wisps, actions, and a little something I've been saving for the end. The coup de grace, the coup de grace, if you will. The final thing we will be stealing from heroes to truly cement this as a team-focused deck builder. That's right, brother, you better believe we got Team Blasts in this shit. Obviously, there'd have to be some kind of limit to how often you can use them, but they're pretty much exactly what it looks like on the tin, right? You might be thinking these look pretty lackluster. That's because Team Blasts have two massive benefits to using them. The first is that they ignore the ring rule completely, and the second is that these function more like blueprints for ultimates. This is why we have those surprise tools. Every character card has an ability like this that ties directly into using these Team Blasts. So, when you use one, all this shit goes off at once. And, as a treat, whoever happens to be leader gets some neat bonuses at the same time. So with this, the game is actually really simple. Clear the other team, easy, no diff, goats washed, and you win! That's about it. I did have the idea to explain some of the strategy so you can get a better idea of what this would look like in practice, but I'm out of time and will soon disintegrate. So here you go, look at these cool cards I made and piece it together yourself, because that's literally the entire point of TCGs. Am I right, boys? Okay, see ya!